Tim Molnar rolling in next as our first pair roll out. Had 29 cars answer the bell yesterday in the first round of qualifying. Jerry Albert's machine's going to make it a 30-car field. Jerry not with us yesterday, having to do that Monday through Friday thing called work. But he's here now. Number 8 in the world last year. Molnar's Seville, Ohio-based Pontiac. There on the left. Him right now, number 12. And just like we've seen in Top Dragster and Comp, you're going to see the field shuffle here in Top Sportsman as well. Attention in the pits. Attention in the pits, please. Super Street, round number 1. Needs you to lanes. Super Street, round number 1. Needs you to the staging lanes, please. So Jerry Albert's Camaro going to add his name to the list. Purging the nitrous system, bringing the pressure down to where he wants it, needs it to be to leave the starting line. 622 cubic inches of Chevrolet. And he's got the small motor of the pair on the line. Tim's machine, 630 plus cubic inches on the left. And let me tell you, those engines pale in comparison to some of the larger ones here in Top Sportsman racing. You want to talk about large engines? You almost need a piston that'll fit a 3-pound Folgers coffee can for some of these things. Whew. Molnar not on the line when the tree comes down. Jerry Albert's going to cruise right on in, run 688, 199 miles an hour to cruise his way into the qualifying sheet. Jerry's going to go into the number 17 spot for now, 688 at 199. Lester Johnson's Shoebox Chevrolet leading the pack with a 6:04 lap from yesterday. Whew. Kenny Stops, Tony Fagnelli rolling up next. Kenny out of Lost Creek, West Virginia. Sounds like an interesting place in the Appalachian Hills, doesn't it? Lost Creek. The Grand Am up on the left-hand side for Kenny. First shot at the racetrack is going to come today. Kenny with a 630-plus combination Chevrolet underneath the hood of that Pontiac. Going to make it a 31-car field. Tony Fagnelli wheeling the Pennsylvania-based Pontiac over here on the right-hand side. Currently sits number 9. In Super Street, round 1, need you to lanes, please. Super Street, round number 1, needs you to the staging lanes, please. $668 by Tony. That's a step and an improvement. $742 by Kenny. Tony will jump up, move up to the number 5 spot. Kenny adds his name to the list, albeit down at the bottom in the number 27 spot. Again, we qualify the quick 32. We have had 31 cars so far make a lap in qualifying. Talked about some of our large engines. We got one of the really big ones coming up here in just a moment. We'll tell you about it. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, or at least on the starting line, Bob Wright's Chevy Cobalt rolls in. 671 Roberts run yesterday out of the white Cobalt here on the Sunoco side. Tyler Levon out of West Liberty. The Levon's Body Shop. Mustang bodied entry there on the left-hand lane. Tyler came up yesterday. Threw down a solid 652 lap. 216 miles an hour. 652 is a good run. Lester Johnson, 604. Remember that. We'll talk about Lester a little bit more when he comes up here in just a bit. Both these cars in the show, both of them top 10 qualifiers. Tyler rockets on through, 645, picks up 7/100 of a second. 669 for Bob. He picks up a couple of spots. Robert 669 at 208 miles an hour. Tyler 6:45 puts him into the number 2 spot. Brandon Baxter got the Dodge Avenger-bodied machine over there. Excuse me. Nope, that is not correct. Tim Irwin up the Mosier Engineering. Chevy Lumina up on the left-hand side, the Indiana-based runner, and Tommy Turner. We were talking a moment ago about the engine sizes, how big they are. Tommy Turner over here on the right-hand side, up from Naples, Florida. 904 cubic inches of Pontiac power underneath the hood of that Pontiac GXP. 904 cubic inches. I mean, that's like, really large. Tommy goes shopping at the double extra large and tall shop over there. Whew. Sits number 8 on the qualifying sheet right now. 673 out of his Pontiac yesterday. Tim Irwin shut it off. Came off the line. The car rattled the tires a little bit. The Mosier Engineering Lumina did not get a full pull down the quarter mile. Does today. 7:01 at 195. Still looked a little rich going down the racetrack. It's black smoke. Tim rolls into the number 24 spot. Tommy's 6.665. 209 miles an hour. Moves him up to the number 4 spot. They're creeping up on Lester. I don't think they're going to get there, but they're creeping up on Lester. Picking up the performance a little bit. Chris Osborne and Dave Payon. Payon out of Mansfield. Pulling in his Monte Carlo bodied machine. Another 600 cubic inch combination for the Buckeye runner. Here in the Sunoco lane, Chris Osborne, your defending champion, the Pack Springs Chevrolet Camaro, won it all here a year ago. Love to take the trophy home again, but this is going to be a tough field of top sportsman cars. Well, it's just a tough field of top sportsman cars no matter where you go. Tell you what, these guys are ultra competitive. Comes elimination time, it becomes 6 second, 7 second, 200 mile an hour handicap racing. You'll see the races won by 2, 3, 5 thousandths of a second. It's incredible. Payon on the right, going to make it a full 32 car field. You're going to see a bump come up down at the other end on the scoreboard once these 2 cars clear and their numbers go into the books. David rockets through 7:07 at 195, 675 by Osborne. He does improve, but only 0.03 of a second. Chris, though, sits number 10. He's on the top half of the sheet in qualifying. If you're number 1 through number 16, you have lane choice. Dave Payon goes in number 26, and unless he improves drastically in our final qualifying session, his first round of eliminations, he'll be going to the lane that the driver on the other side doesn't want. Right now, it doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference. Got a couple of good side-by-side laps to get cars down here, National Trail. But you never know when something might happen in the pair before you, and having that lane choice could make a lot of difference. Greg Burba, Jimmy Fallon, a couple of gentlemen down on the bottom half of the qualifying sheet. Jimmy Fallon, no, not that Jimmy Fallon. This is Jimmy Fallon, the bookstore owner out of Trenton, up in his 63 Corvette over here on the right side. Greg Burba, Beaver Creek runner in the left lane. Dodge Stratus. This Dodge has the Chevrolet engine underneath the hood. You do not have to run the power plant of the body style. We've got Chevrolet-powered Dodges. We've got Ford-powered Corvettes. We've got Chevrolet-powered Dodge Neons. 7:06, 193. Jimmy picks up a couple of hunt. 7:71, Greg Burba. The run only 148 miles an hour. Left a lot out there on the racetrack. He's got one more shot to get her hooked up and stuck for 1,320 feet. But right now, number 30, Fallon moves up a couple of notches. He's number 25. Dwayne Gallagher rolls in. The Cedarville-based runner, another 63 Corvette body style. Don Horn out of Delaware. Andy Horn. Then why don't they put Andy Horn on the computer screen? Donald Andrew Horn. BA. I'll just solve all that real quick. The runner out of Delaware. Now this Mustang is all Ford. 645 cubic inches. 706 combination for Dwayne's Corvette over on the left-hand side. Both these gentlemen already on the qualifying sheet. Horn's Mustang sits number 8. Dwayne's Corvette sits number 21. So far, so good. You're on the sheet. That's where you need to be. Let me tell you, when you get into top sportsman, top dragster racing, you are one of the 32 quick qualifiers and your name's on that qualifier sheet. It becomes a quick, fast bracket race. You can win from anywhere. 669, Horn improves a couple of hunt. Dwayne goes 694. He improves a couple of hunt. Here comes your number 1 qualifier. And if nothing else, certainly one of the cars that you should make your way into the pit area to find and check out. Lester Johnson out of Kentucky, the 55 Chevrolet Chop Top Bel Air over on the left-hand side. Got a Pro Charger sitting out in front of 521 cubic inches of Hemi. Lester, earlier this year down in Gainesville, Florida, put this car down into the low 590s. Now again, you qualify with a 6.0 lap. 6.04 is what Lester ran yesterday. Jeff Sexton up alongside of him. Runner out of Fairborn. Chevy Cavalier-bodied machine on the right. But you look at the difference between the two. You got the shoebox Chevy in the left lane. And you've got what a lot of people call the jelly bean body, the round body, for Sexton's Cavalier on the right-hand side. There goes Lester. Hang on, hang on. About a 6 flat, 6.001, 234 miles an hour. He was already number 1, but for that kind of a lap, I'd put my hands together and my feet together. I'd look like a seal. That was a nice lap. 6 flat, 234 miles an hour. Jeff Sexton had the best seat in the house. He was 688 at 201 right alongside of him. Lester Johnson. Woo! Holy guacamole. And like Brad said, our starter out there on the starting line says, wow, that'd be your number 1 qualifier in top dragster. It would, except he doesn't qualify for top dragster. It's not quite long and skinny enough. Don Sadoff and Kyle Camp rolling in next. 6.001. Wow. And you say that's a bad man? That's a bad man. That's a bad race car. That's a neat race car. And like I said, definitely worth the trip to walk back through the pits to find and take a look at. He'll have the front end off of the car, servicing it, getting it ready for round number 3 of qualifying, their final qualifying shot coming up a little bit later on this afternoon. Right now, Don Sadoff out of Connorsville. Kyle Camp coming over from Terre Haute. Trans Am on the right-hand side. C5 Corvette bodied machine over there in the left-hand lane. Nope, excuse me, that's a C4 body. Sadoff's on the sheet, 707. Kyle Camp ran a 676 yesterday. He too on the qualifying sheet. Drivers right now just looking to jockey for a little position. See whom runs whom. 668 Kyle, he picks up a few. 704 by Don, he picks up a few. Camp number 7. Sadoff number 25. I have just been informed that we had a birth of top sportsman machines overnight. 41 cars on the grounds trying to qualify for a 32-car field. Now, I don't care if you use old math, new math. or you want to work for a month and a half with that Common Core stuff to figure it out. But 41 cars, you're not going to get all 41 into a 32-car field. It's going to be interesting. Right now, the bump at 8:55, and we're going to trim that down. I'd say pretty quick, because here comes Bill Yates, and he hasn't been down the racetrack yet. The Camaro out of North Carolina over there on the left-hand side. This gentleman, past U.S. Nationals winner in Super Comp, top 10 in the world in Super Comp. And you checking everything out, making sure before Billy Boy gets to running down the racetrack, everything's good, clean, and ready to go on the Camaro. John Hochstedler out of Michigan. Over on the right-hand side, John went down the track yesterday, 693. Do believe that that'll stay in the show. 41 cars for a 32-car field. Woo! Hochstedler makes his way down the racetrack. Bill Yates says, wait a minute, it's my turn. And Bill Yates says, wait a minute, this car doesn't quite sound right. He'll go on to the qualifying sheet, albeit down at the bottom. Bill will cruise through 799 at 174 miles an hour. His reaction time was 3 times his elapsed time, but hey, he's on the sheet. And right now, Bill Yates, 799. Hey, Bill, I got good news for you. You made the field. I got bad news for you. You're on the bump. Here comes 2 more cars not in the show. Scotty Wasco. Scotty, a winner on the tour last year with his 94 Lumen out of Columbia Station. Alex Bozek coming out of Chi-Town, the Windy City runner. Little neon over there on the left-hand side. Now this neon, the dumpling body style as it was affectionately named during its pro stock heyday. This one's got 650 cubic inches of Mopar underneath the hood. We got the neon that runs down in the south central part of the United States. There's a big Chevrolet underneath the hood. And scoff and laugh if you will, there is actually a Ford-powered 63 Corvette-bodied machine at Top Sportsman action in the country as well. Not here this weekend, but Ford-powered, Corvette-bodied. Why, I don't know, but that's the way it is, as Walter Cronkite would say. So neither one of these guys in. Yates, 799, the bump spot. Alex and Scott thinking, we can do that. There goes Scotty and Alex right alongside of him. Wasco's Lumina top in, clears the beam, 664. 208 miles an hour. Bozak goes 675. Wasco up to the number 4 spot. Alex takes the 675, 205 neon. Goes to the number 12 spot. Greg Burba's 771 now becomes the bump. Jeff Sutherland and Bill Yates both just got bumped out. Dave Goins and Gary Wanowski rolling in next. This is Gary Sr. We'll see Gary Jr. Just about spit that out wrong. Gary Jr. will be coming up in just a bit as well. His father and son both racing in our Top Sportsman category. Goins on the left, a Mustang got bodied entry, and this one's all Ford. Dave Goins, number 30. If Dave takes a minute and looks in his rearview mirror, well, he really doesn't have one, but if there was one, he looked in his rearview mirror, he'd see Glenn Butcher rolling into the water box behind him, and Dave's like, wait a minute. Glenn isn't on the sheet yet. Glenn's Camaro's pretty quick and fast. I need to step up and raise my game a little bit. Wanowski's number 15. qualifier, the Oldsmobile over on the right-hand side. Dave goes 7:23 at 177, did what he needed to do. Stepped his program up 677 by Wanowski Sr. Gary goes to number 14. Goins steps up the pace. Doesn't really shuffle himself around too much on that qualifying sheet, and that may become bothersome here in just a little bit as Gary Jr. rolls in now. His Monte Carlo bodied entry. Gary's number 17 on the qualifying sheet. And Glenn Butcher, a runner out of Doylestown, Ohio, who is a demolition contractor during the week. You know, like blows up buildings, has those big heavy balls on the end of cranes, and they swing and they slam into brick walls. Yeah, that kind of demolition stuff. So Butcher on the left side, first shot down the racetrack. Holbrook Race Engines, Garrett Race Cars, 69 Chevrolet Camaro bodied machine. Over there on the left-hand side. He's looking to get in. Looks down on these scoreboards on the other end of the racetrack and sees that 771 of Greg Berber. Glenn goes, I can do that. Greg Berber looking up at that 771 going, oh, I got to improve. But right now it's up to Gary and Glenn. See what they can do to get down this racetrack. Butcher cruises through 647, 211 miles an hour. And that's his get-to-know-you lap. He'll be back a little bit later on to tune it up. Goes into the number 3 spot with that 647. Gary Wanowski Jr., 684.4 qualifying yesterday. 684.6 this time down the racetrack. As Randy Promozic and Ron Biondo pull in. 2 more cars, not yet on the qualifying sheet. Attention in the pits, please. Stock eliminator. Round number 1, first 3 designated pair and left side of the ladder. Stock eliminator, round number 1, first 3 pair and left side of the ladder. We need you to the lanes, please. Stockers, round 1, first 3 designated pair, left side of the ladder. Need you to lanes, please. Get you paired up and ready to go. Round number 1. The bump now on the scoreboard. Kenny stops 742. Dave Goins 723. Remember, Dave's already ran. He improved to that 723. And if both of these guys go quicker than 723, Dave got bumped out and has 1 shot left to get in. Promozic, 78 years young. Over there on the left-hand side. Yeah, I said 78. What are you going to be doing when you're 78? Ron Biondo out of Ohio, the serviceman. Half his age. Wheeling the Lumina down track. Randy comes out of the gate. Car does a little sachet. A little do-si-do off the starting line. And let me tell you, going down the racetrack and doing a Texas two-step, you don't want to do. 1085 by Randy, puts his name on the sheet, albeit on the non-qualified side. Biondo goes 673. He jumps into the number 12 spot. The bump now becomes that 723 of Dave Goins. Dave Payon goes 707. He sits number 31. Bill Riddle's going to bump 1 out if he can go quicker to 723. Riddle down from Brighton, Michigan. The Corrigan Race Fuels blown. 89 Camaro machine over here on the right-hand side. Mark Malkiewicz out of Strasburg. 68 Camaro on the left-hand side. 740 plus cubic inches. Getting a little bit of help going down the racetrack. 7:27 by Bill Riddle at 163 miles an hour. Riddle me this, who just went 7:27 and is not in the show. That'd be Bill Riddle. Number 33 qualifier on a 32-car field. Remember I told you earlier, 41 doesn't go into 32 too well. No matter how many goes into or whatever you got, trying to calculate. Marks 7:41 lap at 205 miles an hour. Puts him in the number 2 spot behind Lester Johnson's Shoebox Chevrolet. And here come 2 more. Bad Eye Breiniger, tool and die engineer at the Mustang on the left-hand side, and Don O'Neill. Don in the dragstersforsale.com team car, the VP Fuels Matadine machine. Don yesterday had a wild ride going down the racetrack. Got down into the shutdown area, the Monte Carlo over here on the right-hand side. He was in the left lane yesterday. Got down into the shutdown area. First parachute came out. It was okay. Second parachute came out, and it went sky high, lifted the back end of the car up. Car pirouetted around on the front tires, flat spotted them. Probably ground a little bit of fiberglass off the nose of that Monte Carlo. Spun the car around, set it back down. Don, after a few muscles loosened up, and he quit screaming inside his helmet, got it refired, and drove it off the end of the racetrack. But let me tell you, never touched anything, and the back end of the car was 10, 15 feet off the ground. That'd be a good estimation. Whew. New set of front tires on the front. A little bit of sandpaper on the nose of the Monte Carlo. Don right now going, let's just go straight, baby. Don's into show number 18. Monte Carlo goes through. Parachutes come out. Everything looks a whole lot better and much more controlled. 696 that time for Don. Doesn't improve on his 684. Breiniger goes 688 at 198. He's into the number 23 spot. Dave going 723. Still the bump in the field. 39 cars have made their way down the racetrack. Here comes Roger Wellman. The Ford Probe. Over here on the right-hand side. Going to make it 40 cars giving it a shot. Bob Mandel, the chassis builder. Profab chassis. Down in Tennessee. Got that chopped top. 57 Bel Air over there on the left-hand side. Mandel already in the show. Roger Wellman looked make the probe part of the show. 727 at 183 miles an hour. 687 by Mandel, another 687 lap. He'll stay number 21, and riddle me this. Who just went 727 and didn't make the field? Well, it's not Bill Riddle. This time it's Roger Wellman. Roger 7-27 and Dave Goins 7-23. Survives one more attack. 40 cars down, trying to squeeze into 32. Steve Breiniger and Jeff Melnick. Breiniger on the right side, number 26 qualifier, 697, Jeff Melnick's machine. Another Dodge Avenger there on the left-hand side. Melnick not in the show. Breiniger is with his Mustang. Steve Dunn needs you to the tower, please. Steve Dunn needs you to race control, if you would. Steve Dunn to race control. Breiniger's Mustang, a little sachet out of the gate, gets reeled back in, 675. That's an improvement for him. 697, that's an improvement for Melnick. Melnick jumps into the show, number 27. Breiniger now number 16 with that 675 lap. And Mike Donato. Don Ness chassis. 700 plus cubic inch. Combination for the electrician out of Illinois. Michael Donato rolls in now. First shot at the racetrack for the runner out of Arlington Heights. Rattles the tires, rumbles and bumbles a little bit off the starting line. He'll coast on down track. Name will be on the qualifying sheet. It'll be on the not qualified side of the sheet at a 1471 lap, 50 miles an hour. And up next, your final car, and currently your number 7 qualifier, and number 7 in the world last year. Waiting for Donato to clear the top end of the racetrack. Looks like he may have come to a stop down there in the shutdown area. Hey, Larry. Mark McDonald rolls in now. The dragstersforsale.com team car. Boonville, Indiana-based runner. Won the Jegs All-Star top sportsman category. Came back the next day and won the Joliet top sportsman category. Picked up the Jegs All-Star win and the double-up bonus. Nice little payday for Mark and Deidre, a.k.a. Ed, out there helping out on that Mustang. Jack Austin's car, Mark gets to drive. Deidre keeps him going in the right direction. A little pat on the back every once in a while. 598 cubic inch Mustang. Mark went 667 yesterday at 204 miles an hour. Final car, top sportsman qualifying session number 2. Dave Payone's 707. ends up being the bump after 2 shots. Dragstersforsale.com. Mark McDonald, the Mustang, cruises through 668 at 205 miles an hour. Now, you think these cars aren't consistent? Mark McDonald went 667.9 yesterday, goes 668.0 today. That is 2 laps on 2 days within 1,000th of a second of each other. Whew. You do that like 4 times on race day. And like Mark McDonald did up at Joliet, you'll find yourself standing there at the end of the day holding the check in the